Good evening. We're breaking in to bring you news tonight that is the worst kind of breaking news for us to follow. It comes to us from Michigan State University, where police say shots have been fired on campus. Information is very limited right now, but we'll walk you through what we know at this point. But it is an active shooter situation at 9:15 p.m.
That's right. As you said, we don't know much, but MSU is saying that shots were fired near Berkey Hall on campus. The university is asking people to secure in place. Police are on scene. This is a live look at a little bit of the police presence that we're able to see with one of our cameras. We've just learned one person is dead. We don't know if that person is a student. We also know there is an active search for the shooter.
Information has been going out from the university to all of the students via text message on Twitter, but the original note that went out from the Michigan State University Police Department was at 8:30 this evening. MSU police report shots fired incident occurring on or near the East Lansing campus. Secure in place immediately. Run, hide, fight. Run means evacuate away from danger if you can do so safely. Hide means to secure in place, and fight means protect yourself if no other option.
What a scary
Whether you're a student, it's one thing to be there. The horror for a lot, because parents are receiving this as well. We have MSU parents here at Local 4, including our Kim Adams. She received that text. You can imagine the cold chill that runs through your veins.
Her daughter is okay, but you know, we're just getting all of this information new into the newsroom, and it's very little. Our initial reports, we heard that shooter was at Berkey Hall, which is a social science building that's located on the northern boundary of campus. We've got a map up here where you see that down on the lower right-hand side of your screen, not too far from the Student Union Center, right off of Grand River. It forms the northern boundary of the MSU campus, located just off Collinwood Drive on East Circle Drive. And MSU PD sent out an email alert, we're told, about 8:39 about this active shooter situation. And as Devin just said, we have confirmed that one person is dead. We don't know if that person is a student or faculty member or who. We're working to get that information.
That information was confirmed to us by the chair of the Michigan State University Board of Regents, and that's Rima Vassar. She couldn't stay on the phone with our assignment desk because she too is an MSU parent who had to get back to talking to her child. And so there's so many moving pieces to this, so many different stories right now, and a lot that we do know that, in fact, Kim Adams was telling me earlier, she was talking to the house mother where her daughter lives, and the inability to have everybody accounted for.
Yeah.
That's just one.
That's scary. Oh,
that's just one of the sororities or one living group area right now. And this is being played out all over the place. Everybody trying to be accounted for and be safe where they are, while police try to get to the bottom of exactly what they're dealing with.
Yeah, indeed. And Kim Adams is getting mic'd up here to talk to us. And your daughter, she's okay.
Yes.
But how scary it is to get that text message from her about sheltering in place and turning off the lights and closing the door and, you know, just making sure everybody's accounted for.
Right. We get these alerts as parents, not often, but we have gotten alerts before about shooters, but we've never heard, you know, that there's a shooting, but never the run, hide, fight.
Yeah.
That's alarming.
So alarming. Yeah, so alarming.
For many parents.
The latest update that we've just received from MSU Police, the suspect is believed to be on foot right now. Community members on and off campus, this is new, on and off campus, should continue to shelter in place. Police are continuing to respond. You see, this is just one portion of the campus that you're seeing right now. There are police lights and patrol cars all over the place, so we've got a number of law enforcement units responding right now. But again, the word right now is that the suspect in this case is believed to be on foot, and so that's why it's still an active shooter situation. They did not have this brought to a conclusion just yet. But at this hour, it's just mostly an awful lot of worried parents like Kim Adams.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and several friends who have students there several friends have students there as well. I talked to one of my friends. Her daughter was in the union, the student union, doing a project. They heard the shots fired. They initially hid, which is what they were told to do, but when they heard the shots come to an end, they ran and escaped, and they are now safe. But you know, the information where my daughter is right now, they're listening to the police scanners, you know, trying to find her sorority sisters and trying to get information. But as always in these breaking situations, you get a lot of rumors and reports and misinformation. So we're cautious about, you know, what to say. But I can say that, you know, several students are sheltering in place. They've been told to stay in their, not only in their dorm, but in their dorm rooms with the doors locked. Until further notice, and with the lights off as well.
Yeah.
We have been obviously following the scanner traffic as well tonight, but that is, it isn't particularly reliable necessarily what you're hearing, because it's sort of the first draft of what's going on right now. So we're being very cautious about sharing what we're hearing moving across the scanners, but so many people right now, Twitter is letting people who've never listened to scanner traffic before know how to go and find it on their computer right now. But if you do that, I would just admonish you that to remember that none of that is confirmed, and even sometimes in the heat of what's going on, police officers and law enforcement, first responders, they can sometimes be confused about what they're seeing or hearing as well. And so rumors can sometimes be spread around on the scanners as well. We're going to do our best to stay sober about that and wait for official word to come through official channels right now, even as I'll tell you, we do use the scanner to guide where we feel like we need to be. Yeah. And where things might be happening.
Speaking of which, we've got multiple crews that are headed to the scene right now. Mara MacDonald should arrive there in another 10 minutes or so, as well as Pamela Osborne on her way to the scene as well. But if you're just joining us, let's just catch up to speed with what's going on here. We got word that shots were fired on the campus of Michigan State University this evening. The first emails from Michigan State University police went out about 8:39 tonight. So not even an hour ago. They were asking everyone to shelter in place. We have confirmed from the chair of the Michigan State University Board of Trustees that one person is dead. We don't know anything about that person, if it's a student or a faculty member or whomever it may be, but one person confirmed dead, and just very few details coming in here. The initial reports was that shooter was at Berkey Hall. Berkey Hall is located on the northern boundary of campus, and it houses the College of Social Science, the Institute for Public Policy, and the Department of Sociology. Now, that is near, from what I understand, the Student Union Hall, too, which is maybe where a lot of students would go for dinner. I mean, Kim, you know better than I do. I've not spent a lot of time on Michigan State's campus, but you have a daughter there. Is that right? That's kind of where a lot of students congregate, is the Union Hall.
And especially this time of night, they're doing group projects, their homework, things like that. They're eating, just, you know, social gatherings, quite a bit this time.
Right, but it's all in that vicinity.
It's all in that same area, which is why, you know, the friend of mine whose daughter was in the Union and heard the shots, it doesn't mean she heard them from inside the Union. It could have been from any of the surrounding areas, but she was inside the Union when she heard the shots. They hid. The group of friends she was with that were doing a group project, they hid, but when they heard the shots come to an end, they decided that they would run. And that's what the alert that goes out to the parents and to the students said, run, hide, fight.
And these students, by now, they're all way too acquainted. They've seen this happen elsewhere, and then you find yourself in the middle of it. There's really no way to prepare for it. No matter what kind of drills you do, all of a sudden you're the one getting that text that says run, hide, fight. It changes everything. And these are young people, 18, 19, 20 years old. People are tweeting right now about how chaotic it is right now among the various living spaces and gathering areas where people are sheltering in place as they're supposed to be, but not really having a clue what's going on outside right now. As we mentioned, police believe that this suspect that they're seeking is on foot right now, which means that this has not been brought to any kind of conclusion just yet. We are also staying mindful that, again, we were talking about the first casualty of war is the truth. There's a lot of things that are being said right now on Twitter. Some people are tweeting out things that they say that came from the shooter. Things, you know,
it's too early to speculate any of that to be true.
Set all of that aside for the moment. And then the other thing is that police right now, their number one concern is not trying to get messages to the media or to us. Right now, they're dealing with an active shooter situation, and so it'll be a little while before we can get further official word.
Yeah.
One piece of advice my daughter gave to me, she said, do not call, please do not call. Because if these kids have their ringers on and they're hiding, that phone call. So she said, text, but please do not call me, Mom, even though her ringer is off.
Yeah.
That, you know, so for parents that are trying to reach their kids, send a text. Unless, you know, your kid has an alert that, you know, when their text buzzes, keep in mind they may be safe, but they may just be hiding, and you don't want to alert anyone to where they are and where they're hiding, as even just a ting of a cell phone, you know, when you're in a quiet room, can sound like a foghorn going off.
And similarly, one of the first admonitions that went out was if you were in a room, a lit room, turn the lights out. Same thing. Don't give anybody an easy target. But this is just...
which is scary for kids. That's, that's when my daughter's in a room all by herself. Lights are off, and that's scary.
It was I mentioned earlier the house mother where your daughter lives is having to listen to scanner traffic. I mean, this is a different
reality.
Weird reality, right? Strange skill set for a house mom to do.
Right, and there are several girls that are unaccounted for, and so to be in that position, you know, you can't imagine. And these are kids that were just, some were doing their homework and you know, doing what they're supposed to be doing in college, being good kids, and they shouldn't be dealing with these kinds of situations. But here we are.
Incredibly scary. Incredibly scary.
So the most recent word that we have, this came to us just a few moments ago from MSU Police and Public Safety, tweeting out that the suspect is believed to be on foot right now. So community members both on and off campus should continue to shelter in place as police continue to respond.
Yeah. There are developing stories, you know, just what you mentioned there, East Lansing High School. There was a school board meeting being held tonight, and they have been asked to shelter in place and lock it down just to keep people from leaving, to keep people safe, just in those surrounding areas, as you mentioned. If you're just joining us, we'll tell you again what we're
and we've got with us on the phone right now Darnell Blackburn, one of the newest members of the WDIV family, but a long career in law enforcement, including in East Lansing. Darnell, when you first heard what had happened tonight, take me through what your first concerns were and what your first thoughts were.
It's devastating, Devin. The students, the family, the law enforcement officers. It's all devastating, and it's saddening. You know, this. Unfortunately, this is so commonplace, but we prepare, but we don't expect it to happen in close to home like this. So it's terrible, terrible.
So tell me a little bit, Darnell, about what you expect police are trying to do right now. You've got a wide area to cover. You've got a guy who you believe is a guy. We don't even know that yet. But you have a suspect right now that you believe is on foot. Give me a little bit of an idea about the way the response works in a situation like this and how the campus police try to coordinate with East Lansing and the other law enforcement agencies.
Well, they're calling in as many people as they possibly can, as many. So Lansing, East Lansing, MSU, Meridian Township, they're calling in all those units. And what they're doing right now is they're trying to flush this individual to a specific area. You know, I'm hearing that the person, the suspect, was in the Berkeley area of campus, which is kind of a northern part of the campus, mid part of campus, and it's also close to Grand River, which is a major thoroughfare. So what they're trying to do is they're bringing in their special response units, teams, and, you know, they're bringing in the dogs. They're trying to track this individual. They're doing everything they can to try to confine them to a specific area so they can apprehend them.
Yeah. I have, unfortunately, this doesn't sound like this is getting any better. We just have a new update here now from Michigan State Police that says there is another reported shooting at IM East. IM East, by the way, is the fitness center on
recreation
campus.
center,
It says police are responding. There are multiple reported injuries. Media staging area is currently being determined as they try and figure out what to do with all of the media that's responding to the area as well. But again, there is another reported shooting at IM East, the fitness center. Police are responding, and there are multiple reported injuries. Yeah, this is. Yeah, go ahead, Darnell.
So they are trying to establish a command center, definitely somewhere on campus. They're doing that definitely right now, Devin, to find a place to confine, to at least have a centralized spot or somewhere, away from campus to try to coordinate all the police agencies. Obviously, this is a live thing and it's going right now, so they're actively also pursuing the individual right now. And I'm sure they have many K-9 officers out, and they're searching for the person throughout the campus with the K-9s and any other technology that they have involved and in play.
I mentioned earlier, Darnell, that the priority right now is they've got an active scene. They're not really necessarily worried about the media, but at the same time, Darnell, they need the media to get the word out to the community at large and to all of the students about what they need to be doing and how they need to be acting during this very fraught situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've talked to some former colleagues there, and I do know that the alerts have been going out for all the students and all the social media pathways and anything else that they could use. So everyone has been told to shelter in place. I do understand that there's several students that are people, I should say, not just students, that are in a target that is very, very close to the location of Grand River, which is the shooter area. So they have done a good job of getting the communication out to the students and even the family members as to, to shelter in place. So that was the first thing they did. They did send out those alerts, and that was top priority.
Yeah. Darnell, I know you worked as a police officer there for some time at Michigan State University. Can you kind of walk us through just the location of this newest place that we're getting information on, the IM East Recreation and Sports Fitness Center? Is that very near the vicinity in which we first heard reports about the active shooter at Berkey Hall and Union, the Union Square area? Is that all around the same vicinity?
It is. It's actually a little bit further south of the initial area, but it's the east part of campus. And so it is just a little bit south east of the initial spot. So the person is actually traveling southeast, it looks like, or it seems to be. So it's still a heavily populated area with a lot of dorms and things in that particular area. If the person goes further south, just a mile or two south, they'll be on a part of campus that's a lot more desolate, but that's still, there's a number of residence halls that are still in this particular area that they're searching.
Yeah.
We now have a statement from Governor Whitmer, an alumni of Michigan State, I'll note. I've been briefed on the shooting at Michigan State University. The Michigan State Police, along with MSU Police, local law enforcement, and first responders are on the ground. Let's wrap our arms around the Spartan community tonight. We will keep everyone updated as we learn more. She, too, waiting for answers, as so many other people are. I think Stephen Henderson would be fine with me reading this to you. Stephen Henderson, the host of Detroit Today on WDET, the former Detroit Free Press writer and reporter, he's got a son at MSU, and he says that he's fine. His son, he says he's actually not very shaken. I think for them, our kids, there is a normalcy to all of this. My God. So right, isn't it?
Incredible to think, though, that that this happens so often that you wouldn't even be rattled by it.
Yeah, very strange. In fact, Darnell, you must feel the same way. We've just gotten way too. How many mass shootings has the United States had just this year, and we're only in February?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that it's such a sickening feeling that we've become comfortable with this, for lack of a better term. And I mean, until it happens in our backyard, and now it's happening in our backyard. And it's really sad, Devin, because it's it's been a matter of it's been a matter of when. And when is now. And so I think that the departments in that area are very well trained. They go through a number of active shooter training. It's called ALICE training, and how to respond to this. And the only thing that unfortunately we can do is minimize the amount of injury, because the police are always behind the eight ball when they respond to these types of incidents. And so that this is what they're doing. Again, they're actively tracking. I'm sure there's a number of K-9 officers out. There's various special response teams, SWAT teams, if you would, that are out and that are staging in specific areas looking for this individual as well.
I don't have the fully updated number, but in the first 24 days of 2023, there were 39 mass shootings. Incredible. So we've been averaging more than one a day as we start this new year. And not a ton of answers, Darnell, either, about how to get our arms around this very uniquely American problem.
Yeah, it's a tragedy, Devin. It really is, and it's heart-wrenching for all of us to just be in this position. And again, unfortunately, all we can do is respond, and respond the best that we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Got another update that's just come in from Michigan State Police and Public Safety. Update, IM East is being secured. That's the fitness center that we mentioned earlier. And according to MSU Police, it appears there is only one suspect at this time. Mm-hmm. That is not to be confused with having one suspect in custody, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But it does appear that they're only looking for one person.
Yeah, and that suspect still believed to be on foot, according to this.
And they may have put that out because I've been getting texts from my daughter and her friends. There are rumors among the students that there are 4 shooters, and so that's probably why they put that out.
Yeah.
Because for the kids, that's terrifying.
Sure.
They don't know where are they, who could it be, and so that's probably where that came from. Is now as there is in any of these situations, rumors start with social media, and so kids were starting to say multiple shooters. So that's likely why they put out that there is only one suspect.
Right.
What we're looking at right now, I know it's hard to see because this is an older camera, it's in black and white, but this is our live Beaumont Tower, and you can see their EMS and fire trucks there on the scene with their lights flashing. It kind of gives you an indication of the emergency response there on campus. You can see in the foreground as well as in the background there. The lights flashing and who all is responding to what looks like at least 2 or maybe even 3 locations that we have learned of so far. But again, just one shooter, they believe.
And Kimberly, if I could, one thing that we have to be mindful of too is the safety of the EMS and the fire personnel as well. Mm-hmm. We have an active shooter who's still out, so they are at their stage, not in the heart of campus. Their stage a little further away, and then trying to get them to respond to the people who are injured. These are all factors that play a part. We have to make sure that their safety isn't at risk. Yeah. And so these are things that have to be coordinated with all the agencies, not just police agencies, but with the fire, the EMS, and everyone else. And those are things that we coordinate, and that's why you don't see them in the heart of the campus. Mm-hmm. You see them staged further away for their safety.
Yeah.
Darnell, let me let you address something that Kim just talked about, that there's been talk on campus about 4 shooters. They're all listening to scanners. I admonished everyone earlier to remember that scanner traffic isn't the same thing as, the official word on anything. What passes back and forth on police radios, police get confused too from time to time, and they're passing along what they've heard from time to time. We kind of need to be very mindful of that if we're dialing in, listening to scanner traffic, right?
Absolutely, Devin. I think the best thing to do is for the students to make sure that they go to the official MSU sites, and anything that is official from the campus that they're putting out, just only listen to that. Don't spread. I mean, social media it can be used good and it can be used in a very negative way.
Right.
Don't put out anything, please. You know, it's just more alarming and it's confusing. And ultimately, some of those things will affect the police as well because it gets back to them.
Yeah.
So just sit back, just only listen to something that is officially transmitted through MSU, and don't spread anything further because that does not help the situation at all.
So right. In fact, can make it worse. Exactly right. Yep.
Yeah.
Darnell, I want you to stay on the phone with us. Darnell Blackburn, he's our crime and safety expert here at WDIV, but worked for years as a police officer at MSU. Stay on the phone, Darnell. I think we do have Mara MacDonald. She has arrived there on scene and has a live camera up. Mara, can you hear us? Are you there? Yep. Okay.
Kimberly, we're in the middle of Grand River right now. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
we
you.
got
Go
you.
ahead.
We're in the middle of Grand River right now. All right, I'm trying to put this into perspective for everybody to show you what's been happening here. So you can see police have cordoned off Grand River right there. Straight across the street from me is really where this whole thing started tonight, at least from what we're getting initially from MSU police, that the shots that were initially fired were fired near Berkey Hall, which is across the street over there. They then say that there were potential issues in the student union, which is about 2 buildings further that way, as well as potentially Phillips Hall. So right now, where this started is right over here. I can only walk so close because police, I mean, we've got people out here with long guns that are everywhere, and this shooter is not in custody at this point. But let me show you this one. Take a look over here. Do you see the ambulance lights through the crosswalk over there? There is a line of ambulances there that is at least 12 deep. Once again, another spot that we cannot get into because they've got it cordoned off with police officers everywhere. I will tell you that I'd say within the last 15 minutes, since we dumped our live truck and started, walking the scene in here, we've seen a tremendous amount of police activity move from, this really is the heart and the center of East Lansing, going that way. Over to off-campus apartment areas. So why that is, not clear. Let's talk about injuries and fatalities. I can tell you that according to a member of the MSU administration that the station has spoken to, there is at least 1 fatality confirmed. As far as the extent of the injuries right now, I don't want to speculate on the number because, quite frankly, it's all over the place. So we simply do not know. We are in a position where police are actively on the ground looking for this shooter. So it is, to put it mildly, a little bit tense out here.
Yeah,
we've got to be careful about where we go. Bottom line.
In fact, I want Darnell to weigh in on something you just mentioned. You're looking at all these people with long rifles and the firepower that is amassed around. Darnell, that's part of why everybody needs to shelter in place because you don't want to be mistaken for the wrong person.
Absolutely. Thank you, Devin. I was going to bring that point up. There's no way to tell who is a suspect and who could be a possible victim. And so it's so important that everybody remain inside. It's so urgent. So if parents are watching, I know that's not in our viewing area, but if parents are watching us and listening, tell your students, please do not leave. I mean, for their safety on all levels, it's so critical. So you're absolutely right. Absolutely right, Devin.
And Mara, they are still trying to put together, I guess, a staging area for reporters. But the same thing. It must feel pretty tense for you to be standing where you are at the moment.
I mean, I'm surrounded by police officers. I'm not concerned for my safety, Devin. I don't want to create a problem like you just mentioned, because it's dark out here, okay? They don't know who's walking around out here. And while Eric clearly has a camera on his shoulder, you know, they're tense. They don't know where this person is, the suspected shooter. So that's what we're dealing with out here right now. And it is eerily quiet up here, with the exception of the wail of a siren every once in a while, which is, you know, for anyone who spent time on this campus, you know, Grand River is the heart of East Lansing. It's typically buzzing with people. Everything is always open. It's always loud. I mean, always. And it's nothing. It's absolute silence. Back to you.
Yeah. All right, Mara. We will just keep an eye on what you're watching and seeing there as well. We'll let you try and talk to some of the officers there. Give her just a second to do what reporters do. But if you're just joining us, we want to get you caught up to date on what's happened here. At about 8:30 this evening, the word went out from Michigan State Police that there was an active shooter situation and that all students on campus needed to be sheltering in place, with the admonition to run, hide, fight if need be. We had heard earlier it was shooting or shootings reported near Berkey Hall. Later, other shootings apparently near the fitness center.
The IM East Recreation Center on campus.
And at about somewhere around, in between those two, police were able to ascertain that they are looking for one suspect, but that suspect is still on the loose and believed to be on foot. So now the word is that not only those on campus, but those off campus living near the Michigan State campus in East Lansing need to be staying inside their homes and sheltering in place as well.
We did hear about 15 minutes ago, too, from the chair of the MSU Board of Trustees confirming that at least one person is deceased. We don't know the identity, if that person is a student or a faculty member or what just yet, but we do have at least one confirmed dead.
And we have obviously a lot of students in the middle of this. This is an enormous campus, an enormous school, and then there's a whole lot of parents like our Kim Adams who take me through when you got that text message earlier. Did you hear from your daughter, or did you get the text message on the shooting first?
I was texting with my daughter when it came in, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it was different than the other alerts that most parents are signed up for these alerts like their kids are, and there are reports of shootings here and there, but I've never had an alert that says run, hide, fight. That was the difference. My daughter is safe, but several of her sorority sisters are missing. The one thing my daughter is saying is for parents to not call their child. It's obviously our instinct to pick up the phone and call your child. But if they are hiding, and since this is still an active situation, they may be hiding and think about being in a room that's totally quiet and your cell phone pings or it goes off. Now, texting, I guess, text is better.
Yep.
And obviously you want to try to get a hold of your child. I think most kids will text their parents. I would hope they would in these situations. But also keep in mind, some kids are still don't know that this is going on because maybe they don't have their phone. They could be in a study lab. We talked about IM East. They could be swimming. They could be in a practice, the weight room. They don't have their phones on them, even though we think they do.
Yeah.
They don't always have their phones on them. So there are students right now who are just getting this information. But as a parent, I know it's tempting to call your child, but keep in mind if they are hiding, you don't want their phone to ring in that situation and alert someone to where they are.
Good advice. Good advice. We want to go back to Darnell Blackburn. He's has worked as a police officer at MSU, now is our crime and safety expert here at WDIV. Darnell, I wanted to ask you, we've covered these active shooter situations, and most of them, I would say, happen during daylight hours. But here we are. It is nighttime. How much more dangerous and how much more difficult is this for law enforcement to try to locate this active shooter this late at night?
That's a great question, Kim. This brings on a whole new dynamic. I mean, you know, you have, and there's certain parts, they do a very good job of keeping the main campus lit, well lit, but there's certain areas, you know, in the parking lots that are a little more desolate, I mean, and darker. So this brings us a whole new dynamic. If the description of the shooter is dark clothing, again, as was alluded to before, I think Mara may have alluded to it, you know, if you can be easily mistaken for a shooter, for the shooter, and it just based on that. So, I mean, this brings a dynamic for it's more dangerous for the officers. It's more dangerous for anyone else who's out in the area, because the assumption is going to be that it's going to be that you're the shooter, regardless. If someone is walking around, the police are not going to. They're going to assume that you are that you're a threat. And that doesn't mean that, you know, they're going to take action in lethal force action, not in that way, but they're going to be very, very cautious, conscientious of all of that. So, again, it's so important that students would shelter in place, that they stay wherever they are, and they don't leave, and that they're, you know, they're mindful of all these things. And for the officers and everyone else involved, I mean, this just takes it to a whole nother level. You're right. A lot of these happen during the day, and you got an area that's MSU is a very, very large campus.
Yes.
Very large. And so this is not, I mean, it's one of the largest campuses in the country. So this isn't a small area to cover at all. So that's why it's so important for them to have canines. I know they do have quite a few canine officers that MSU has themselves, and other agencies have canine officers available to track. And I think that would be one of I'm sure that's what they're working on right now, is trying to track this individual with the dogs if they can.
Well, it's one thing, Darnell, too, to be looking for a suspect. When you are looking for somebody who you know has already been firing a weapon, has killed at least one person, there are multiple injuries reported as well, that's the most dangerous kind of person to try to pursue, right?
Absolutely. So again, I mean, there isn't a benefit of the doubt that'll be given in this situation. You know, the police officers are doing their best to minimize any more tragedy, and that means that, you know, they're going to make sure that they're on alert, and they're going to have those guns out, as they very well should, to protect the general public as well as themselves.
Exactly right, Darnell. It is now 9:51, and all we know at this point is that there is an active shooter situation still underway on the Michigan State campus in East Lansing. We have at least one person confirmed dead, that from a conversation that our newsroom had with the chair of the Board of Trustees. We also know, thanks to the most recent update from the Michigan State Police, that there are a number of injuries. And it would seem that we've been able to determine that there have been several shooting sites, I guess we can say now at this point.
The first was reported near Berkey Hall. That was about 8:30. And then an hour later or so, there was another report of a shooting at the IM East Center, which is the recreation center. That's all there in the same vicinity on campus. So two shooting locations. The police, though, are stressing in their tweets and all the information that we have that they are still just looking for one active shooter at this time. And we've been hearing reports that there are more, but police are confirming they're just looking for one.
And all these injuries, or those that are wounded, it just breaks your heart to think about parents who haven't yet been able to make contact, or students who haven't been able to make contact with some other students. It's the one thing about living in a sorority is there's a head count, right, Kim? Other living arrangements, you may not have any idea who's missing, who's out doing whatever, you know, college students do, obviously, on a Monday night.
Right, and it's a new reality for, you know, the house mom who's sitting there now listening to a police scanner trying to find out where the rest of her girls are. And they also have to lock all the doors, they have all the lights off. But, you know, if girls try to come back home, you know, what kind of situation are they facing? They can't get in, or but it's the way that the kids deal with things now is so different. You know, this has become, you know, they're not desensitized to it. It certainly does affect them, but they're much more concerned, at least my daughter, about their friends and about, you know, locating their friends than they are really their own personal safety, because they're used to these situations. They've gone through drills in high school. They've gone through drills, some of them since they were in elementary school.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, the Alice drills that they go through, and so they're more prepared for it than we are as parents. When I see a text from MSU police that says run, hide, fight, you know, your heart goes into your stomach, where they're like, oh, well, you know, I hope everybody's okay. You know, it's just a different mentality that these kids
In
have
fact,
to go
Darnell,
through.
that advice kind of marked a turning point. I remember when that first started to be what students and in fact anybody in a mass shooting situation was told. When we boiled it down to run, hide, fight, that felt like a new era to me, Darnell.
Yeah, it was, Devin. I mean, it was specific. You know, I mean, it went from, you know, hide to, yeah, it was hide and get out if you could. Now it's run, hide, and fight. I mean, the reality is that, you know, you have to fight if you're in a situation. You can't just assume that you're going to be safe, because we've seen this so much. And so, I mean, you know, if students are listening, if people are watching, it's just so important to put yourself in a position to survive. And if you can't get out, you have to fight. You have to, and that means barricading things between the door. It means picking up legs of chairs or you know, anything you can find that would be a weapon to use. That if someone comes in, you just attack them, and that's just the mentality. It's that we have to survive in this type of era, and it really it's a turning point, Devin. It really has. It's a tremendous turning point, and it's changed the way that we respond to these things, because we realize that the survival rate depends on that.
Yeah. So, you really, yes, your life is in your own hands in many ways, and it's just horrendous that this is part of the curriculum now.
And that's the life
Yeah.
in which we live now. Yeah.
It is. It is. One thing that you know I will highlight, and it's not. I don't want to speculate, but the interesting thing about this, if it started in Berkey, in the Berkey Hall area, that at one time that was a graduate hall. There were a couple of halls on campus that were specifically for graduate students. And so, you know, I don't know if that ties or means anything, but I know at one point in that particular area, Berkey Hall, Berkey Hall, and that it was a graduate hall. And so I don't know if that has any bearing on anything or not, but it is interesting that in that area, Landon Hall, Berkey Hall, I think those were graduate halls. And so, you know, who knows if this is a student, not a student, or if it has anything to do with anything. But it is interesting.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah.
All right, Darnell. There you see this long line that Mara was talking about a little while ago. She figures it was about 12 deep of the ambulances waiting to be called into action. Hopefully we won't need all of them. We do know, though, that we have a number of I don't want to say students, people, because we don't know how many might be students, faculty,
members,
people from off campus, right?
Sure.
But we do know that along with the one dead that's been confirmed to us, we have a number of people who've been wounded tonight in these shootings.
Yeah.